Hey guys, welcome to Titan Talk. It is going to be pre-recorded, so forgive us on that. This is going to be the week before Thanksgiving. I'm on vacation, so we wanted to pre-record a couple of videos for you guys to get you guys some content out there and make sure that you guys didn't miss us too much. So you've got me, Lieutenant Coop. We've got our local talent, Mr. Lieutenant McFarland, with us again.
From the future.
Well, we don't know anything special. It's okay. And we've got a couple of topics today that are near and dear to us that we wanted to go over with you guys because we know that there's some lifetime struggles out there that we all go through every now and then, whether it be professional, personal, and others that can include that. So a big thing about that is taking care of ourselves, mentally, physically, financially, all of that stuff coincides with actually kind of funny about our last video about being prepared.
Right.
And just keeping that stuff together. So one of the things that we want to let you guys know, the Titan employees, you guys should all be aware. And if not, hopefully you see this and it brings that awareness to you that there is stuff out there in eHub in the document section, and I'll bring up a copy of the page of what it shows, but there is stuff out there that you can reach out to for any kind of help. It's financial, there is emotional, there's all that stuff out there, but we want to make sure that everybody has this documentation and can use it, because that's what it's there for. Everyone has a bad day, everybody has a really bad day, and we want to make sure that everybody has this and can reach out, and it's anonymous. There's no records kept. Nothing is sent to us. The only thing that is sent to us is that you guys are using it. It doesn't tell us who it is. It doesn't tell us when you used it. None of that information. It just says, hey, this was used recently. Yep. And so that way you guys don't have to worry about it. It's completely anonymous. Supervisors have used it. Other officers have used it before in the past. So it's a resource at our disposal if you guys need it. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware. I'm going to pan over to it real quick, and Lieutenant McFarland's going to kind of walk you guys through a little bit. He's got a little saying he wants to do with this stuff. So I'm going to forward over to it real quick, but I just want you guys to know that this is what it looks like when you go into eHub to look for it.
So the way to get there, most of you guys probably operate eHub through your mobile device. So from my understanding, there should be it's three little dots, I believe, in the bottom right corner, and this is coming off an iPhone. I think they're relatively similar. From device to or Android to iPhone or whatever you use, and there should be at that point the three little dots in the bottom right corner, and then from there there will be a list of things, and one of those should be documents. And once you click on documents, then you'll scroll through those documents to get to, I believe it's called it's the Work Life Matters. Okay, so yeah, it's Work Life Matters, and you'll click on that, and that will give you this screen or this document. You can download it to your computer, print it off, whatever. We've obviously blurred out the numbers on this show because this is on YouTube, and this goes to everybody outside of Titan employees. And so just for censorship purposes, the one that you will get in your eHub is not censored. So
yes,
there's a direct line there.
There'll be a phone number in the same place where you see the blurred out one, along with an email address. If you scroll down the document, there'll actually be another one as well.
Yep.
Where you see it says connect to a counselor for free support right there. It's just below that if you scroll down. So
the reason for that, or the reason that we're bringing this up, obviously, is because people struggle on the day-to-day with mental issues, physical issues, and financial issues, and those all three can become too much to burden on your own. I'm fortunate I have a really good support system with my family and my work family, and so when I'm having a bad day, they can tell and they'll pull it out of me. And they've sat me down and said, hey, I know your head's not in the right spot. What's going on, dude? Like, you're not yourself. And so I'm fortunate to have that. Not everybody does. And as much as we all are a part of the Titan family, we don't see each other as much as we'd probably like to or should. And so sometimes you need someone or
a little extra support.
Yeah, and it's okay to not be okay, and people have to start understanding that. You're not supposed to be okay all the time. If you were, that's a little too robotic for me, and you're put on a facade at that point. And so if you feel like you're just kind of going through the motions day by day, it doesn't even have to be any kind of trauma involved. And obviously we see a lot of that at work. You see people on their worst days. Sometimes, you're going to find people that are no longer living, and so those things are really hard to process if you don't have the
A good
support
system.
that is needed. And so I don't care if you're the biggest, burliest guy, you know, you still need, and my boss uses a great analogy. It's like changing your oil. You know, you have to have routine maintenance. You got to change your oil every so often. If that means talk to somebody in your community that is seen as a leader or a religious leader or, you know, anything, someone.
It could be your best friend.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anybody it doesn't have to be anybody super important. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It doesn't have to be this or that.
No.
If it's got the biggest thing I think is it's got to be somebody that you can trust.
Right.
Or somebody that you know is going to give you
Sound advice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, well, I don't know where to turn. That's where this comes into play. These people are professionals at helping people that feel lost or feel like they've got nowhere else to go. And, you know, resulting to, physical harm and stuff like that is the last thing we want to see. And, you know, everybody needs to understand that it's okay to not be okay. I'm probably going to say that 20 times. It's okay to not be okay. Like, people think it's a sign of weakness, you know, and like I said, you'll see the biggest, burliest guy, and those guys have bad days too. And weathering it is not a sign of strength.
No.
It is not. That's all you're doing at that point is when you have something. I've talked to multiple people about this in the past, and I'm no expert, but I know enough to know that you need to get help when you need it. And I know enough to know that there's oftentimes signs that you won't display to people. And so you may not get the help you need unless you kind of look and dig deep within yourself and do that maintenance on your own. And so think of it as, the best way to put it, and it's been the way it's been explained to me, I'm not scared of clowns, but there are scary clowns. Imagine a scary clown in the room and you're just ignoring him or her or whatever, ignoring it. That doesn't make it go away.
It's still there.
It's still standing there. And so just because you're not looking over there doesn't mean it's not there. And over time, you're going to get used to it. And at some point, it's going to catch you off guard. And you don't want to be caught off guard with grief or any kind of internal struggle, because when you feel alone, it's very hard to reach out.
Yeah. I think it's the check engine light thing that you were going over earlier, the maintenance on the vehicles, where it makes sense to me. If you've got a check engine light on in your car and you ignore it, the light doesn't go away. That light is still on.
And the problem doesn't get better.
And it doesn't get better. Generally, what happens? Yeah. Generally, it's only going to get worse. So
doesn't help.
And that's a huge one for me, because I'm a car guy. You know, I'm a huge car guy, and when I've got that check engine light on and I keep going and keep going and keep going, all I'm doing is making it to where at the end of the day that bill is going to come due, and it's going to make it even worse.
Yep.
So, you know, we put that stuff out there, and we have this stuff because we want you guys to be able to get that help. You know, like Lieutenant McFarland, I'm very fortunate. I have a work family here that gives me phenomenal support. And yes, I'm phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
But
support.
unlike McFarland here, I don't have any family here. You know, I don't have my mom and my dad live states away. None of my direct family lives close to me. And so I rely heavily on my work family. And these guys know, just like he said, when I'm off, and I'm what you would classify as a workaholic. Like, that is an understatement to the fact.
I think everybody that watches this knows.
Yeah. If you haven't
Which
figured
is why
that
he's
out.
taking a vacation. The whole purpose of us recording this, because I'm too dumb to run this thing.
And we were going through, like, specifically with my vacation, some things came up, and I have offered at least 5 times now to cancel and or move my vacation back, and neither Lieutenant McFarland or our boss Josh Leon will allow me to do so.
Because he needs to change his oil.
Exactly. That basic maintenance needs to be done. And so I'm over here going, hey, I'm just going to push it back a couple of weeks. We'll get it all squared away. We'll do this. And both of them looked at me and went, shut up. You're going. And I was like, but we need. And they're like, shut up. You're
we'll figure it out.
going. And so it's one of those, there are going to be times where you know and your support system knows, hey, he needs that basic maintenance. Regardless of what he says, we need to help him get it. And so, and get that taken care of, because that stuff is so important, and everybody thinks so little about it. And
Right.
I'm prone to that myself. I don't put a lot of thought into, doing my basic maintenance, changing my own oil, making sure that I'm refreshed and ready to go, because I want to make sure that everybody that I work with and my Titan family has the support they need.
Yep.
So I put an extra burden on myself to work longer hours, to do more on the weekends, to make sure that you guys and these guys all have their basic maintenance done, and I never really worry about myself.
And that's
And
why he's
so-
not allowed to push it back because it'll end up not happening. We're forcing him to take a vacation.
Exactly. And so sometimes you need that support system because without them, they've seen it. I don't take vacations. I don't do that big maintenance. I will just go and go and go and go. And they've seen what happens at that. I basically drop off the map for a little bit.
Yep,
And-
the engine explodes.
Yeah.
So-
And we can't, and none of us really want that.
Nope.
So we got to do that basic maintenance, guys. And then that's where stuff like this here comes in because there are going to be times when I don't know what to do or Lieutenant McFarland doesn't know how to help me or whatever the case may be. And can look at me and go, brother, I love you. I love you to death. You need some extra help.
Yep.
You need to take some steps in and get some stuff going. And, look at it. And you know what? If he's telling me that, I probably need the extra help. And so we reach out to that stuff.
Yeah.
We use it.
That the stigma of the signs of weakness that come from that I'm so sick of seeing it. I've lost too many people to circumstances like that I'm adamantly and not becoming an activist about it by any means, but I'm going to start vocalizing my opinion on that a lot more. That I'm tired of people seeing that as a sign of weakness.
It's not.
I used to in the past. I've had some trauma in my life, just like I'm no different than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I've lost some friends, I've lost some coworkers, and it sucks. And the way I dealt with it was just compartmentalizing it. And there was like 15 clowns standing in my room. And one day I go, you know what? I got to do some housekeeping here. And I reached out to some people and spoke to some people and really understood that I was using vices I shouldn't have used. And I did a lot of destruction to myself and those that care about me around me, because they're the ones that are going to have a harder time saying, hey, you're hurting me by hurting yourself. And so I realized I was fortunate. I had somewhat of an epiphany one day, and I just go, I can't keep doing this to myself because it's hurting everybody around me. And so it's bigger than just you. And if you're a person that cares about others, then you need to look inward to understand that how you treat yourself is affecting others, and how you maintain yourself and that maintenance affects others. And so having people around you that you care about worried all the time that something bad is going to happen because you're just not being responsible with your upkeep and your maintenance, it's selfish. It really is. And so just make sure that I'm not going to go off a tangent there because I could talk about that for
Forever.
hours. But make sure you guys are doing what you need to do for yourselves. And if that's like, hey, call one of us and say, dude, I need a day off. And I've never ever fought with an officer or made an officer feel bad or guilty for saying, hey, I just physically, mentally, I'm out today.
I think the big thing there is being honest about it. If you
Yes.
call and you're, I'm sick, and it's one of those you can tell that you're not sick, but you're just saying it.
You just don't want to work today.
Yeah, it throws us for a loop, and we're like, something's, we're like, okay, we've got to dig into this. We got to figure out what's going on, and then you'll get a little bit of pressure from us going, hey, what's going on? Something's not right. Hey, you sound off. It's that being honest about it and say, hey, you know what? I want to work today. I want to do a good job, guys. But honestly,
My head's
I
not
can't.
there. Yeah,
I'm
I'm not there.
together.
Well, and what we do, you need to be mentally, physically sharp at all times.
This is the industry that we do for a living is a taxing industry, and you have to be mentally prepared to be able to deal with that every day. We understand that you can't. Not everybody can be every day, and you need to take care of yourself that way. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like I said, we wanted to bring this up. This is something that's near and dear to all of us because we all struggle with it. Nobody's immune to this. Nobody's perfect on it. We all struggle from this. And so we wanted to make sure that you guys knew that there are options out there that don't necessarily have to be your normal structure. There are people out there that don't know you, that are willing to help, and they do that because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're there for it.
They're trained for it, and the people that do that just no different than the people that want to make careers or actually care about what we do. Is we're here to help people. We're not here to kick down doors and be cowboys, and they're not there to be some doctor that says, hey, your head's not right. You should be in an institution. These people want to help you, and you can tell by how they treat you and how they talk to you. They want to help you because maybe they've been where you are, or maybe they've had a family member that's been there, or so whatever reason they are intimately connected to this profession just like we are, and so you can trust them. And the other thing is, there's 2 points I wanted to make on this. One, it's free, doesn't cost you a dime.
Yep.
is
100%.
completely free. So if it's a financial struggle you're having, and you think, well, why would I, pay money to talk to somebody about how I'm financially struggling? No, it's free. And they may say they may help you get on track for a budget plan or whatever. That's, again, I'm not a professional in that field, so I'm probably not the best person. But when it comes to my friends and family, I'm like, hey, you're not yourself, and just like it is here. So if someone says that to you, it's because they care. Don't take it as like, oh, a sign of weakness. Reach out to us. We can get you set up with this. Go through eHub. Get it.
Pull up the information there.
Get the information, and just understand when you first call. And I haven't personally used this outlet for help, so I forgive me if I misspeak here, but you're going to call to basically like a dispatch center,
Yeah, so it's when
then they will set
when
you
you
up.
call the first time. You're going to be calling a dispatch center, and it's a little clunky the very first time because you're reaching out to the dispatch center, and they're going to ask you some questions. What do you need? What can we help you with? Get the basics in, and then they're going to get you set up with the person that is going to help you. It's just like our dispatch center. You call and say, hey, I need a lieutenant or I need patrol. This is what's going on. They go, you know what? I got the person for you. I got the supervisor for you.
Yep.
And they'll send you to that person. It's the same thing here.
Yeah.
You're calling this dispatch center. You're giving them the basic information, and they go, you know what? I got the perfect person to help you out. And bam, they send you they send you to that person, and then they help you get squared away. So the first one's a little weird, but after that, everything evens out, and then you're with the person that's going to help you out. So, like I said, we just wanted to make sure that you guys had this information, that this information exists, because it's extremely important that we do this basic maintenance with ourselves.
It just, like you said, that initial, it's not going to be like a counselor that answers. So it's someone that's going to find out which route you need to go to, whether it's financial, mental, physical, whatever kind of issue you're dealing with, and then they will route you to the correct counselor and or set up an appointment or a time, stuff like that. If it's something that's dire and like an emergency outside of 911, you're having really bad thoughts about harming yourself or anything like that, 988 is the number you're going to want to call. So if you find yourself and you're just backed yourself into a corner and you self-harm is on your mind and you're struggling with that, 988 is the number you want to call. And that's an emergency service 24/7. So please, 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 if you have issues with anything like that, don't be afraid to reach out. There's people that care about you, and there's people that will help you. So please, please, please make that step.
Okay. So I'm going to put it on the screen one more time. This will be the third time, just so we've got it on there again. Since this is a pre-recorded video, if you guys want to pause it on any of the times that we had it up to get the information of what they can help you with, you guys are welcome to do that. Again, you guys can also go into eHub in the document section. It is under Work Life Matters. You pulled up that document, and it's the same document. The number, the email address will be unblurred. You'll be able to scroll through the whole page. I'm only putting the very top section in just so you guys can see it, and it has the assistance, some of the stuff that they show. So I'm going to put it on the screen one more time for you guys. So again, they help with all kinds of stuff. Stress management, mental health, diet and fitness. They do legal issues, will preparations, taxes, debt, financial planning. If planning financial stuff is hard for you, these guys will help. Okay?
Not my strong point. My wife's great at it, thank God. Bless her heart, because I'd be living under a bridge somewhere.
Parental support, child and elder care, learning programs, stuff like that. They help with everything, guys. This is a fantastic resource to use. So, again, we just wanted to make sure that you guys had this, that you knew it existed, because it is so near and dear to all of us that we make sure that each and every one of us, we take care of each other. Yep. We're a family here, and I know you guys have heard us say that before, and this goes back into being prepared, and it also plays into how much we appreciate every one of you guys. We know that you guys go above and beyond for us every week and and every day, and that takes a toll. And you have to do that basic maintenance. So because you guys are so dedicated to us, we want you guys to know that we are just as dedicated to you guys out there and making sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves that way. So
yeah. We've all been where you guys are, every one of us started in that, and I transitioned from law enforcement and into this. And so I understand that you get a big fight with your significant other, or somebody in your family's sick and you got to go stand at post for 8 to 10 hours, that's going to weigh heavily on your mind. And I've battled through it to where, I've had stuff like that happen, and I'm at work and I just know I'm off. And so at the end of the day, instead of me going home and being mad at, my girlfriend at the time, or my fiance, or my wife, or seeing family and just taking it out on them, I can call somebody, and we may have had this in the past. I didn't know about it. So I'm hoping that this podcast today will reach a few people that are in those positions where it's like, I don't know where to turn. This is where you turn. This is where you go.
And here's the big thing too. If you're watching this podcast and you're not a Titan employee, okay, there is help out there for you too. This particular item is for our employees, but there are other numbers that you can call.
Well, like that 988.
Yeah, there are other numbers you can reach out to.
Call 988,
and they will help you out. So this is a wellness check really on everybody, not just our officers and the people we are directly in contact with. Anybody watching this podcast, please reach out for help. It's out there. People care, and people will want to help you guys.
Yes.
I'm getting a little emotional, so I'm sorry. This is something very near to me.
Yep, it's something that's really important to us. And other law enforcement agencies, if you're in law enforcement, watch this. Most of those departments will have programs that they go through during the academy, and they know who to reach out to. There's counselors and chaplains that are dedicated to certain departments. If you're in another security industry and you're watching this, and we've had some comments from other people in states away that are like, hey, I love your content and stuff, and we absolutely love hearing and seeing that. This is for you guys too. Reach out to your employer. If you're in this industry, you see a lot of bad stuff. There's just no way around it. There's some good stuff you see, but most of it's not good. Or there's a high probability that you're not going to see good things. Yeah. And experiencing that without years of experience or training. I remember, this is going to get a little morbid, but I remember the first dead body I ever saw on duty, and it's going to be here. It will live here rent free for the rest. Well, it's paying rent.
Yeah,
but it'll be there for the rest of my life. And they never got easier. I've seen enough more than I care, and I hope I never see any more. But I guarantee that's probably not the case. And so that doesn't make me a tough guy because I went through that. No, what makes you a tough guy is when I've had struggles with situations like that, or had issues where I was in situations in the field that, have come back and woken me up at night and stuff. I've reached out to people.
I remember kind of going into, I'm not going to go into like where it was or what, anything like that, but I remember my first welfare check. It was the first one. I was on patrol for 4 months, and I got a dispatch call from a concerned mother wanting to do a welfare check. And PD, she hadn't called PD yet. She called us because she knew her kid had told her that we do security there. So she reached out to us first. I was on my way to the property anyway, and I said, you know what? I said, that's easy enough. It's a welfare check. Knock on the door. We'll be good. And I opened the door to the apartment complex, and I knew that something was wrong. The second I opened the door, there's something that goes along with finding somebody who's dead, and I'll never forget it. It's not the first time I've been around it. It's probably not going to be the last. But I remember when I opened the door, I knew something was wrong. I called 911, and I was like, I need PD here. Like, this needs to get expedited because there's something wrong.
Yep.
And I'll tell you that my patrol supervisor at the time rolled up afterwards. PD was there. They cordoned off the building, and he rolled up. He looked at me, and his first words weren't anything of concern of the property or anything like that. His first words, he walked up to me, he shook my hand, and he goes, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Do you need to talk?" And, for the longest time, that really never hit me. It didn't strike me or anything like that. But it was probably a couple of years later, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, he was still there. And I was like, the first thing I remember you saying to me was, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Because it's important."
Yeah.
And I that's always stuck with me, is that's important. And you've got to be able to take care of that. You can't leave it alone. You can't, for replying back to going back to his, you can't leave the clown in the corner and not look at it. It's still there.
Yep.
That check engine light's still on.
And maybe you like clowns. Think of something different. I don't know, like a creepy old lady.
I do the check engine light because if you ignore that
Yes.
too long, something's gonna go.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I've seen memes on Facebook or wherever, and they're like, yeah, whenever I hear a weird noise in my car, just turn my radio up louder. That doesn't make it go away as much as we would like it to. Yeah, I mean, and like he said, he went through a situation. It kind of dawned on him years later, and that's the thing is,
It's not immediate.
If you
Not
process
always.
block that stuff, it will rear its ugly head at some point in time. And the last thing I want to happen is when you're at work and it comes to you. I'll tell you, after losing a sibling and losing family members, I'll be in like high V, like deciding, do I want the cheap mac and cheese today or get the expensive mac and cheese? Then all of a sudden I'll just be there fighting back tears out of nowhere. And and I've gone through a lot of steps of grief and process that. And so I've done it as healthy as I know and the way I've been taught. And
You've been
still
here
going to hit
doing
you.
it.
Yeah, I've been here and it's happened. It's still going to rear its head. And so a really good way to look at it is obviously in our industry where we're all in battle and warriors and stuff like that. There's a pride thing there. You need to make your shield as big as you can.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the battlefield and you got things coming at you from all angles, which is your grief or just a mental illness struggle, it comes from all angles. Grief and mental illness does not fight fair. It does not fight fair. And so the bigger your shield can be, which is your support system, knowledge or process of grief that you've gone through. There's processes of the grieving or there's steps to the grieving process. And there's lots of books out there and stuff. And, that's not for everybody, but find what's good for you. And the worst thing I've heard in the past is people that have had bad therapy experiences because their therapist wasn't a good fit. It's like getting a second opinion from a doctor. Shop around a little bit. And, there's payment plans and there's ways you can do that. Reach out to human resources. There's people that work there for that reason. They're there to help you. And so use these tools we have and see what works best for you. Not everybody grieves different. No one on this planet is the same. Not even identical twins. They're
Nope.
still going to operate differently. And so make sure that you're doing that maintenance on yourself and taking the steps you need to take because, like I said, I feel like I'm a pretty well-seasoned vet at processing and dealing with that stuff just because, again, I'm not any better than anybody else, but because I've taken the time to kind of educate myself on that because I needed to. And it's important because even I or someone that's taken a lot of time to try and limit that, it still happens. And so if someone is caught off guard without any kind of prior understanding of, hey, this is what I need to do, it's almost like a panic attack coming on. If I can feel it, usually I can get it at bay and move on and process it.
I think that Leon, our boss, always says, steady the wheel.
Yep.
You can feel that stuff coming down. You got to steady the wheel.
Slow down a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you can go back up to that NASCAR speed.
The way I attribute to that, going back to, because I'm a car guy, not only the check engine light, but when you feel that stuff come on, you can feel the wheel. It's starting to rock back and forth at that high speed wobble. You got to slow down a little bit, steady that wheel. And be like, oh, okay, we got to back up a little bit here. We got to slow down.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is, Google or YouTube like a death wobble on a dirt bike or a motorcycle. It is an
terrifying.
uncontrollable, nasty situation
Terrifying.
you can catch yourself in, and it comes out of nowhere. But if you're not paying attention to that initial vibration, it'll get into that wobble, and then you're getting tossed over the bike, and you're derailing your day, or month or week or whatever. And so, this seems like we're hitting the nail on the head, or it seems like we're beating a dead horse here. But we can't say it enough, and I know this from experience. I won't say any names. We were at range, and I gave an instruction 7 times before they came to the line to shoot, and people still didn't do what I told them to do. So I know we have to reiterate that help is available. Please use it, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's not. It's 100% not. If anything, it's more of a sign of strength, saying, I do have flaws. I do have issues.
I know where my limits are.
I do have issues handling some things, but that's okay. If you didn't, it would be a problem. It's similar to when we're in NEO and we show some videos of some pretty graphic stuff just to kind of get a temperature gauge of everybody. And if I see somebody in the corner kind of like, yeah, that's cool. No, it's not. You're not supposed to like that. It's supposed to be something that you can handle and you know how to process. And so that's the reason for this podcast today. And that's why these organizations and these outlets are there, is because it's normal. It is completely normal to have issues with whether it's mental illnesses or physical illnesses or financial struggles. That is, everybody does it. Everybody does it.
Everyone goes through it.
Yep.
And not one person is an individual on their own, alone in it. It happens to everybody.
Yep. So I hope you guys understand the severity of this to us, and you guys take advantage of it, because not everyone is as fortunate as we are to have these resources. And so please, please, please utilize them. Please utilize them. And if you just want to talk to us, give us a call. You know, and like he said, if he comes to me and I can tell something's off with him and he kind of unloads or unpacks it a little bit with me, and I go, hold on, dude, this is more than I can help you unpack. I'll tell him that because I care about him and I want him to get the help he needs. And I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but if you come to us and we go, okay, you know, we can get you where you need to be in the right direction, we will. Or if it's something that, hey, this needs some serious attention by a professional, then we'll get you there. And there's no shame in that. You know, it's okay to not be okay. That should be the title of this podcast.
It's okay to not be okay.
It's 100%. It's okay to not be okay.
So we were going to talk about something else, but after that, but it's been about a half an hour.
Yeah.
I think
Might as well say that for the next podcast.
Do that for the next one, because I think that this is important enough on its own to be alone.
Yeah,
guys,
we don't even have any comments coming in.
No, and
this is probably a good one now that I think about it to do without comments.
Yeah.
Because for one, each case or individual person is their own individual situation or individual case that they're going through. And so I feel like that's something that, well, it's obviously always going to be kept extremely confidential and private. And I know the outlets that you go through or the programs that we offer 100% confidence. Like you said, all we know at the end of the day or the month is human resources gets basically a tally of how many times it's been used. Not by who, not when, whatever. It's just like, hey, it was used 10 times this month or whatever. Yep. And so hopefully we see an uptick in that, because that means that people were struggling in silence, and nothing hurts my heart more than to know that somebody's out there that either didn't know how to get help or was afraid to get help or embarrassed. And I hope that you see two guys here that, I mean, probably 15, 20 years combined experience of law enforcement and security. And, you know, we've struggled. So
yeah, everybody, this is, I'm going to say it again and again and again and again. This is something that everybody goes through. This is not an individual. This is a me problem. No, it's not. This is an everybody goes through thing.
And I'm tired of society making it seem like that if you have an issue, it's weak, because it's not.
I remember as a kid, I hurt my hand. I tore a big old chunk of my finger off. And I remember as a kid, my stepdad saying, rub some dirt on it. And there are some problems in this world where rubbing dirt on it, that's fine.
Yeah.
There are other problems in this world.
Knee,
yeah, rub some dirt on it. There are some problems in this world that rubbing dirt, that's not going to do anything. You need to get it taken care of. You need help. You have to. There are people, and the big thing there is, and I say need. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying need. And the reason is there are people that care. There are people in your life, in my life, in his life that care for us, and it's a need because we need to make sure that everybody's taken care of.
Yep.
And I stand by that 100%. We need to make sure that everybody's taken care of. Whether that's me calling Lieutenant McFarland out because I know something's wrong and I'm going to berate him until he either tells me or until I can get him to admit he needs to talk to somebody.
Yep.
And I'm going to keep bringing it up to him, be like, hey, man, I know something's wrong. I know something's wrong. You are off. Yep. No, I'm okay, man. I'm good. You are not. You know, and I will make sure that he can get that because I care for him.
Yeah.
And I want him healthy.
Well, a perfect example is when I was sick, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I kept coming in, even though I was sick, and my boss actually got mad at me. He goes, you need to take care of yourself.
I yelled at him.
He goes, 1 or 2 days. Leon sat me down. Yeah, and he yelled at me too. Leon sat me down and was like, go home. I'm like, but we're going to be down. And, you know, and how often do people get yelled at for going to work sick? Obviously, nowadays you do because you're going to get other people sick, but I don't even think I was contagious.
He wasn't.
I just had something going on for a couple of days where I was just not 100%. I wasn't even like 60%.
He was standing at his desk packing his stuff up, and he kept asking work questions. And I, at one point, looked at him, stopped what I was doing, stood up, and yelled, "Get out!" And I was just, every time he'd start talking, and I'd yell, "Get out!"
Well, and that's why, and they were right, because that's why I was sick for 4 to 5 days, is because I wouldn't go home and take a day or two and just rest and get better. I kept coming in and putting in
making
effort.
It worse.
I went out to range in the cold, and they're like, "You're dumb." And I go, "Yeah, I am." So
guys, the help is out there.
Help's available. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay. We appreciate everybody. We can't thank everybody enough for what you guys do, whether it's for us, with us, or with whatever company you're working for. If you're watching this and you're not one of our employees, We appreciate everybody for joining us and watching these videos and being here with us and showing support to not just us, but to the Titan family and to yourselves and each other.
Well, and today to the cause
Yes.
is do some maintenance. Do some
maintenance.
When's the last time you had a little bit of me time where you kind of sat and just, hey, what's going on with me? Ask yourself those questions.
I told Leon, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had zero plans on a Saturday. Like I had absolutely nothing to do. And Leon, we usually on Fridays, I'll always ask him, "Hey, what are your weekend plans? What do you got going on?" Because I'm involved in his life, and I like staying up to date. And he does the same thing to me. And he goes, "Well, I've got this to do, and then I'm going this way with my son. We're doing that, and we're doing this." And then he looks at me, and now it's my turn. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, 100% to be 100% honest with you, I don't have any plans on Saturday. I think I'm just going to sit at home. I think I'm going to throw some TV on, and I think I'm just going to sit there. And he looks at me and he goes, "You deserve that."
Yeah, it sounds good.
And I kind of just stopped and I looked at him and I go, "What?" He goes, "You deserve that." He goes, "You need that." He goes, "You need to unplug for a day."
Yeah.
And I sat there and I woke up that Saturday morning, and I rolled over and I looked at my phone and I didn't have any emails, and at the time I didn't have any email updates or anything like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking a me day.
Yep.
And I texted or I called McFarland and I said, "Hey, can you handle today?" And he goes, "I got you." And I just sat there and watched TV all day. And it was probably one of the best weekend days I've had in months.
Oh, absolutely. When I was on vacation, I was out in.
I texted him and he ignored me.
Well, so this is why I didn't have service, and so I barely used my phone at all.
No
And
service.
It's out of the country. We were deer hunting, and I realized that like I didn't have my phone on me, and I usually try not to bring it just because it's distracting. It's something about being one with nature, and so all the hunters out there will agree with
100%.
this. And so we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, and I just go, I haven't worried about client notifications, coverage, officer issues, complaints, anything. And I go, this feels good. And I was sitting with my brother-in-law, and we're sitting there and we're whispering back and forth, and we still got about an hour until the sun comes up, and so we're just kind of chatting and just spending, because this is out of town. I don't see this guy very often, and so we're sitting there, and I'm just like, man, this is healthy, And I'm like, this is what it feels like to drain all that old oil out, that's just been pent up, and it's just, you can feel it in your shoulders.
It's
the
full
stress.
it's full of crud.
It's just gunk and sludge, and not even like there's no viscosity anymore. It's just sludge, and so that was the process of getting drained and then filling it back in. And when I came back into work,
I've never seen him so happy.
I was like, I miss you guys.
He walked in and Leona told us, if he walks in here with a bad attitude, he goes, "I'm gonna beat him up." And he walked in 8 a.m. because he forgot I was gonna be there that early because I'd been working 14-hour days
Our
for a
shifts
week.
coincide, so yeah, we have a slot we both fit in, and I came in early.
He came in early because he thought I was going to take a little extra time, and I'm sitting there, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And he had this huge smile on his face, and I was like, "I don't think I've ever seen you this happy." And he goes, "I feel great."
Yeah, it was needed. So that's not
Basic
everyone's
maintenance.
basic maintenance. Not everyone takes time to do that, and so and not even if you don't need somebody to reach out to, or if you're not even dealing with anything taxing physically, mentally, or financially, then that doesn't mean you still can't take a couple hours out of your day to go to the park and just sit. So I live by the river. I live up north in Parkville, and so there's a really cool park up there that has a long trail along the river, and I'll sit there and just watch the river for like me and my dog just for like an hour. We love it. Or what I used to do, and I'm weird. Some people. This is like a pineapple on pizza scenario.
Oh no! Don't bring that back up.
Either people love doing this or they hate it. I used to, back before COVID, even with being married, and when my wife and I dated for a long time before we got married, she's not a big movie. She doesn't like going to the movies, and we'll do it like if there's a movie like a big blockbuster coming out that everybody wants to see, we'll go see it a couple weeks after it comes out. Yeah, but that wasn't in theaters. But yeah, back when it was like that was where you went and stuff. Like all the Marvel movies, we don't watch them, but that would be like the equivalent. Like if you're a big Marvel fan,
We're gonna have to bleep that out.
yeah. Yeah. So I would go by myself. There's something therapeutic about being in there. I'd grab some candy, some popcorn,
Big old
whatever.
popcorn.
Yep. And I sit there, and I don't have anybody going, hey, why is that guy in this scene?
Oh God.
Nobody bothering me or saying, hey, what's that guy doing, or what you know, and it's
What
just
just happened?
Yeah, I'm sitting
Hold on,
there.
wait a minute.
and it's just me
Did you
in
just
the
see what
movie.
was
Yeah.
going on? I just hold on. What was he saying?
Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a movie.
Wait,
I don't know. Yeah, yeah. And
Shut
so
up.
now, you know, if you're dating and stuff, it's fun to go with a girl or guy or whatever, and so that's fun. But when you get to be like me, you want to go
just
and
wanna
you want
watch
to
the
unplug.
movie.
Yeah, unplug and just go sit there. And so that was something I always really enjoy. And I guarantee there's going to be some of our viewers out there that are like-minded to that, because when you watch a movie, you literally unplug. Like, you forget where you are for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so, and
tell you what,
if it's a good movie,
I'll tell you what, I watched that the new Top Gun in theater.
fantastic.
I totally forgot time existed, and then the end of the movie came, and I was like, wait, it's
Yeah,
over?
that was the last one we went and saw.
Shit.
That was the last one. My wife and I had some family in town. We all went and saw that in theaters. And he knows I'm a big aviation nut. And so there was
yeah.
a few things where I'm like, that would never happen. But, you know, yeah, you got to take some of the, there's somewhat
Dude,
of
I'm
a
not an
suspension of
aviation
disbelief.
guy. I'm not an aviation guy, and there was a couple of things
Yeah.
in that movie, and I was like,
Eh,
it seems a little weird.
I could nerd out and say the F-18 is pretty much
Okay,
a,
we're not gonna
it's
go
a dying aircraft, and there's no reason that they would use it for that mission. But no,
end recording.
So yeah, to kind of lighten the mood a little bit after talking serious stuff, you know, we want to go out with a little bit of a happier heart than we started. So, but please understand, it's okay to not be okay, and we're here for you guys if you need us. So, we're gonna get on to the next one, I think.
So I appreciate everybody. Hopefully you guys made it the full time on this. We appreciate everybody coming by. We hope you have a good week, and you will see another pre-recorded one for the Friday show as well. So keep that in mind. And then the week of Thanksgiving, Monday will be a regular show, and then I believe Thanksgiving is Thursday. I'd have to look at the calendar to make sure, but I believe
Yeah, it's usually
I think it's Thursday, and then that Friday, I'm going to do everything I can to drag him from home, because I believe we'll actually have that. The office will be closed that day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do everything I can to drag him in for Friday for a live show as well. So
Well, now you put me on the spot. I have to.
yeah, exactly. That was the
He
whole
did that on
point.
purpose. He did it on purpose.
So
I'm here on my day off today too.
Yes.
So that's how much we love you guys.
So we appreciate everything, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. You will see us again, pre-recorded on Friday, and then we will talk to you guys live on the Monday after. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Go ahead and still comment on this one, because
Yes.
we'll read them later.
Yes.
So we just won't obviously be interacting. We haven't been ignoring you all day or during this podcast.
The whole show.
The whole show. They don't exist yet. So in the future they will. And yeah, God
So-
willing, we'll still be here and be able to answer those. So.
We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.